Let's talk honestly for a moment, not dramatically, not emotionally charged, just honestly. Most women don't realize they've lost a good man at the moment he leaves. They realize it later, when life gets quiet and there's no one left to blame. At first, she doesn't feel pain. She feels freedom. She feels space. She feels like a weight has been lifted. In her mind, the relationship ended because it wasn't right, or didn't feel the same, or needed change. She believes walking away was growth. She believes she chose herself. And in that early stage, she feels proud of that decision. This phase is dangerous because it feels like clarity. She tells herself the good man was predictable, too available, too steady, too safe. She convinces herself that safety felt boring and that boredom meant something was missing. So she leans into the relief. She sleeps better at first. She laughs more in public. She talks confidently about knowing her worth. And from the outside, it looks like she's thriving. But something important hasn't happened yet. She hasn't felt the absence. Because a good man doesn't leave chaos behind. He leaves quiet. Weeks pass, then months. The emotional noise fades. And that's when the silence starts speaking. She begins noticing the small gaps. No one checks in without an agenda. No one listens without interrupting. No one remembers the details she didn't even realize mattered. This is where Alena's psychology comes in. Women don't miss men immediately. They miss emotional consistency. And consistency only becomes noticeable once it's gone. She starts comparing, even if she doesn't mean to. New conversations feel shallow. New attention feels loud but empty. New excitement fades fast. And suddenly, the man she once called boring starts feeling rare. Not because he was exciting, but because he was reliable. She remembers how calm she felt around him, how grounded her nervous system was, how problems felt manageable instead of overwhelming. That's when regret begins. Quietly. Not dramatic regret, not crying regret, but reflective regret. She asks herself questions she avoided before. Was I too impatient? Did I expect too much? Did I confuse peace with stagnation? This phase hits hardest during emotional vulnerability, when something goes wrong at work, when she feels misunderstood by someone new, when she has a bad day and realizes no one really knows how to handle her moods the way he did. That's when she feels the loss. She realizes the good man didn't just love her. He regulated her emotionally. And now she has to regulate herself. This is where the emotional shift deepens. She notices she's more anxious, more reactive, more easily frustrated. Because the emotional buffer she once had is gone. A good man doesn't just provide companionship. He provides emotional grounding. And when that disappears, life feels sharper. She may try to distract herself, more social plans, more attention, more validation. But validation doesn't replace stability. Attention doesn't replace emotional safety. This is when nostalgia starts creeping in. She remembers his patience during her worst moments, how he didn't escalate arguments, how he stayed calm when she was overwhelmed, how he didn't abandon her emotionally when she was difficult. And this realization stings because it reframes the past. What she once saw as weakness now looks like strength. What she once saw as predictability now looks like maturity. What she once felt entitled to now feels earned. She begins to understand something uncomfortable. A good man didn't leave because he stopped caring. He left because he was no longer respected. And that realization carries guilt. Not guilt for hurting him, guilt for misjudging him. She wonders if she'll find that kind of emotional steadiness again. Not passion, not excitement, but someone who doesn't emotionally destabilize her life. This is when fear enters. Fear that she let go of something rare. Fear that her standards were built on fantasy instead of reality. Fear that she chased feeling over foundation. And this fear doesn't scream, it lingers. She might reach out, casually, indirectly, a message, a reaction, a check-in disguised as friendliness. Not because she wants a relationship immediately, but because she wants reassurance that the door still exists. That's an important detail. Women often don't miss the man. They miss the option of him. Because knowing a good man is still available feels safer than accepting he's gone for good. But here's where the story changes. If the man she lost has grown, healed, and moved forward, she feels it instantly. His energy is different. His responses are calm, not eager. His presence is warm, but no longer attached. And that's when the loss becomes real. Because now she understands something painful. She didn't just lose a relationship. She lost access to emotional safety, access to patience, access to a man who chose her consistently, and that realization hits harder than heartbreak. Alena's psychology explains this clearly. Women regret losing good men not because of loneliness, but because good men raise a woman's emotional baseline. Once you experience that, life without it feels unstable. This is why some women carry regret quietly for years. They don't talk about it, they don't dramatize it. They simply remember. And every time they encounter emotional chaos again, they remember the calm they walked away from. The truth is simple. A good man doesn't chase after being lost. He doesn't beg to be remembered. He doesn't fight to be valued. He becomes a reference point, a comparison standard, a memory that returns when the world feels loud and unsafe. And that's why losing a good man changes a woman permanently. Not immediately, not loudly, but deeply.